Hi everyone, I'm Kyle Carlin. I'm currently a special ed coordinator with West Central Kansas Special Education Cooperative out of Hays, Kansas. Our cooperative is made up of 4 districts. Our host district is USD 49 Hays. We also have Ellis, Victoria, and La Crosse that are a part of that cooperative. And then, of course, we provide service for the private schools in our area as well. Our cooperative provides special ed services for a little over 900 students. We have about 80 certified staff, including, of course, special ed teachers, but also occupational therapists, speech pathologists, school psychologists, and other related providers. And then we have about 120 paraeducators that support our students as well. I never was a teacher. I was a school psychologist for 7 years. This is my first year in administration, so 8 years total. And so I worked as a school psychologist in Dodge City for a year, 3 years in Hill City and Hoxie as part of the Oakley Cooperative, and then 3 years with Hays before stepping into administration. I've earned an associate's degree in psychology from Colby, a bachelor's degree in psychology from Hays, as well as a master's degree and an education specialist degree in school psychology from Fort Hays. And then I just finished up my building leadership endorsement back in July. I'm currently working towards my district level endorsement. One of my short-term goals is actually to finish that in about 18 months. I've finished my building level in about 10 months because of just trying to fast track it. And so I'm hoping to go a little bit slower with this as I learn more in my current role. My other short-term goal is that I've been trying to cut down on some of my TV watching and stuff, and so my goal is to read 50 books this year. I'm currently at 22, and that's a mix of everything from education related to fiction, etc. My long-term goals, one is to become a director of special education. That's kind of a 5-year goal of hopefully being able to get myself in a position to be ready for that. I really didn't have a great long-term goal otherwise than that. The only other one is I wrote a children's book a couple years ago, and I'd like to be able to write 1 or 2 more of those or some other books just to maybe. So I guess another goal might be to publish again. That'd be nice. My greatest accomplishment as an educator is that this year, in my first year as an administrator, I set a goal to get into 500 classrooms, and that was kind of daunting. Working with my director, like he was brand new with the district, and I was brand new in my role in my district or in my co-op, and so we really felt like the relationships and getting to know what the work actually looks like in all the different classrooms that we have, everything from alternative settings to traditional resource settings to functional life skill settings, just trying to get to know what's going on in our co-op more. And so I set a goal of getting into 500 classrooms this year, and I was pleased to get to 501 on the last day of school, and so I was really pleased to have met that. And the outcomes from that were really great because I had teachers all year, and especially at the end of the year, telling me how supported they felt, how they appreciated us getting down into the trenches and seeing what work was like for them, and so that our decisions could be more meaningful for them. Ultimately, I became an educator because computer science just wasn't for me. I started as a computer science major in community college, and after the first semester, I realized that wasn't going to work for me. So I selected what I guess was the opposite of that in psychology. And as I learned more about the different options for psychology, I learned about school psychology and got drawn to the schools, mostly because of the positive experiences I had with teachers and wanting to have a similar impact on students. Currently, I feel like I make a difference by considering student needs first when I'm making decisions. It's never about what is best for the adults, it's what do students need, and then doing everything I can to put my staff in a position to meet those needs, whether that's giving relevant feedback, providing resources or training, or anything else that they need, helping take a kid out to recess to spare some of the load in a functional classroom, for example, is something I've done as a part of those classroom visits and stuff that have really been beneficial. My background knowledge of finance is that in my current role, I've learned a lot about how special education is funded through federal and state funds, and I've learned how districts fund special education through district assessments and flow-through funds. I also had the benefit of attending a session by Dale Dennis a couple of years ago, where he explained the finance formula, the weightings, how the weightings were developed, and from that I was able to understand that our funding formula was designed to create equity by acknowledging and addressing the cost differences for educating students from certain circumstances, for different transportation needs and distances. So small districts that have to travel or have to transport kids much further, there's an increased cost that goes along with that. And so recognizing that difference and how our funding formula factors that in is really very neat, and the nuance is really cool. Ultimately, I want to learn more about the nuance within ESEA funding, all the different title funding pieces, Title I, II, all of those different pieces, as well as how state and local funding sources are, like the difference between them, what can be used for what, and all of that. And ultimately, I'm hoping this class will give me an understanding of school finance that will allow me to successfully enter a district level position and make decisions that will benefit students long term. I don't want to be making all these decisions, spending all this money, and then all of a sudden the district's in a tough spot because we were spending more than we should have been. And so I want to be able to understand the inflow so I can better understand the outflow of the funds as we're making decisions. Ultimately, I look forward to learning with all of you. Have a great summer.